I went through ROTC because I thought then, and I still think today, that everybody who's lucky enough to live in a free country owes it something in the way of service. My father had served in the Second World War. Everybody had served in the Second World War. My first assignment was in the 82nd Airborne Division. I was in Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion Airborne, 505th Infantry. Came on active duty in '66, summer '66. About 6 months later, I got orders to go to Vietnam. We were in almost constant contact during the Tet Offensive in '68, and we knew that we were getting closer to taking out the unit that was bothering us most of the time. If you lose contact with the enemy, you better reestablish it. Well, we had fought for quite a while and inflicted a lot of casualties on the enemy, taken a lot of casualties ourselves. Battalion was only about half as strong as it was at the beginning of the Tet Offensive. But we'd lost contact with the enemy. My battalion was attached to Can Phan province, and so we worked for the province chief. The province chief's intelligence apparatus came to the conclusion that it knew exactly where the enemy was located, and they worked up a big military operation to go reestablish contact and get the bad guys. And they had it down to a 6-digit grid coordinate. It's within 100 meters. They thought that they knew almost exactly where these guys were. My battalion, we were going to land at dawn on the north shore of the Ba Sac River. Ba Sac's one of the two principal rivers of the Mekong River complex, and move due north towards this point. And at the same time, the 43rd Ranger Battalion, a Vietnamese Ranger Battalion, was going to be inserted by helicopter at a point to the east of where we were moving and move due west, perpendicular to our movement, and we were going to squeeze them off. The problem was that there was a spy in the province chief's headquarters. And so the bad guys knew exactly when we were coming, where we were coming from, and to what strength. They knew everything. And they had had about 3 days to establish an enormous L-shaped ambush right where we were going. The two lead companies, we were the first things to encounter the enemy. They let us get within about 50 to 75 meters of their positions, and then they opened up with everything that they had. We were all killed or wounded in the first 10 seconds of the engagement. I was wounded in the head. I had a very bad head wound. Ray Ramirez, my sergeant, had 3 sucking chest wounds. And we had a lot of guys who were out there who were in very, very bad shape out in the open. But we also had a lot of killed in action right away. In the end, we wound up going around the enemy and flanking them. And that's how we relieved the pressure, using mostly hand grenades and rifle fire. You know, we fight to achieve the mission, and we fight for the country. But when the bullets and shrapnel start flying around, we really do it for each other. You don't know real love until you've been in combat. That's where real love is. Let me tell you something. There were a lot of valorous acts that day and a lot of valorous people. Think about all the people who performed valiantly and nobody saw it, or people saw it and they themselves were killed. Well, they wrote it up and the recommendations were lost, thrown in the garbage on purpose or accidentally. So for everybody who wears the Medal of Honor, the fact is, millions of people who did their duty and are not around to talk about it or are not asked to talk about it. And so Medal of Honor recipients probably will all tell you the same thing. They don't wear it for themselves. They wear it for all those who can't.